Hi guys, and welcome to today's Material Musings. So we're still playing and experimenting. Last week I shared a painting that was done in here using some of the supplies, and it's just got me wanting to experiment with supplies that I hadn't used for a while. And so I do want to do some more experimenting, but I did say I would share some of these other stitched journals, and it also kind of coincides with this week is the week of making Zen, and I'll leave the link below. And so you'll see lots of different ways to work using stitch, some mixed media projects, and a nice range of teachers that you can see over the next week. And if you want to do the VIP, which I recommend because I've not only been a student taking the classes of making Zen, I found it really helpful that I had the VIP so that I could just come and go as I wanted to. This week is a full week of lessons, and so having the VIP means that you can, you know, take it at your own pace. But again, you don't have to if you can fit in all. There's usually about 4 or 5 lessons dropped each day, and you get 24 hours to check them out. And so maybe you check out the ones that kind of speak to you and then, you know, take it from there. And then I was a teacher, so it was just nice to be able to, again, do the work, do the sessions from the other teachers. So let's just quickly go through these, and then I really do want to experiment, and I'll tell you about the supplies that I'm using, one of which has been discontinued, but you may have in the past accessed this supply. Okay, so we'll start with, say, this one. So this is a collection of fabric scraps, basically, and fabric scraps and what do you call it, ribbons and things like that. And I just decided at one sitting, I didn't create the whole thing, but what I would do is say in one sitting, I say, okay, I'm going to do this page, I'm going to take my bag of scraps. So every single size under, say, a couple of inches fits in there, and there may be some ones that have got in there by accident, but they all go in there. And then I can take bits out, and especially if you've painted on the fabric and, you know, you've cut it up and then you've still got the painted bit, you can add that, like add little bits. Look at this strip. It wasn't going to be used for anything else, but why not put it in a journal like this? And then you can just fill the pages with the scraps and do stuff on it. Like these scraps here, I started writing on them, you know, encouraging words. Joy, love. So these were bits that were just too small to kind of work on a bigger project, but adding to this mini journal, I could fill it with painted scraps, and then I could say, oh look, this is acrylic on canvas, and then I cut it up. I had cut it up, and so these bits made it into here. So I can also see what fabrics I used what supplies on, and this is a good visual reminder, so that when I do want to come and experiment, I can say, okay, let me look through this and see if I've already done that technique, and then I can make it bigger. I can take it onto a larger surface, yeah, or if I just want to stick something in. So some of these have been stuck in, some have been stitched, and then I used a load of offcuts from denim and stuck it on the front page. It was just like, again, I wasn't going to use it. Some had glitter on. It was just like, it's a shame to throw them away. Let's just use them on a creative project, and this will give me lots and lots of hours of just sometimes just staring in it. It might restore the balance. Okay, let's do this one next. I have done fuller videos with them in, so these are ready for me to work in at any time. I do leave some supplies in there to, you know, sometimes kickstart, remind me, or I just haven't found a home for it and I'm thinking, okay, at some point I'm going to add it to here. So we've got crochet that I didn't know what to do with it, and it was just like, oh, okay, let's add it to this book. Why not? And then experimenting with stitching and painting on the fabric. So these are some really nice ways in which you can alter fabric, stitch on it, you know, and play. And here we've just got some smaller pieces of fabric that, again, some old school uniform. I've tried some techniques, I've tried some stenciling on here and just painting. This is with fabric paint, and it's kept it quite supple. And then just some little tags. You know, I could use this as like a sampler, and if I wanted to, say, cut a piece out that I've already done, like I was just thinking, like this page here, it's got a little mini, it says free there, but it's got some nice like little stitches, I've got a heart there, and I might have a bigger project that I think, oh, let me snip this out and add it to it. So sometimes these can become projects that you decide to put in a larger piece. You may not have known, got these pins in here, you may not have known what to do with it at the time, so you've added it to a space that maybe you'll be inspired. Like there's another piece that could be the start of something. Yeah, so again, lots of experimenting, lots of mini pieces that I can say, what's going on here then? So they're attached by a pin, but little small pieces that I've worked on, little clusters, fabric that, again, I'm not quite sure, that could probably go into the scrap bag. But I'll leave a piece in there just in case there was an idea that I was going to work on. But yeah, just having little bits that you can, you know, bring back, and an idea might flow from it. So again, this mini journal has just been bits of fabric that had been painted on that I then decided to add. I've not created a signature like that. These are single pieces that I've stitched in here. You can see there. Okay, and then this one, I created this one when I first became aware of making Zen, and I wanted it as a way to house the projects that I was working on, some of the techniques. And then when I became a teacher, I used it as well to demonstrate some of the things that I'd been working on and stitching. And this one was like an example of how I use just straight stitch, and you can create different patterns with the same one stitch, just in different ways. And this was from an example I did of stitching letters and stitching words in your journal, your art journal, stitching, having a master sheet of words and working through it. So this is something that, yeah, I really enjoy working with, you know, doing some stitches. And this was from stamps that I'd stamped in here, and then, you know, you can stitch around them using watercolor stencils and then stitching around them. So it's mixing and matching your art supplies, and I've got some additional pages that are available for me to do stuff with, and you can use both sides. But as I say, mixing and matching some of the things you have. If you already work with paints and watercolors, why not see how they translate on fabric, experiment with some fabric, or you know, using your stencils and stamps. You've already got them, so why not see if they can transfer onto the surface of something else? And then this is, you know, again, you can create words using bits of fabric, and this is this bit is a upholstery fabric that I've used and then added to this, and it's actually made the page quite stiff. So I'm thinking I might do more of that, say like in the back, and so you've still got, you know, some nice stitching going on. I don't have to go right through to the back of here, but and then we've got the front as well, and I just use it to hold some of the pins. So this, I guess, will be staying like this unless I add the upholstery fabric to make it a bit more sturdy, and then add the pins to another piece. Well, I can just leave it as floppy, and, you know. So those are those three. So I said I wanted to experiment with some more supplies, and I think there is one of the sessions in Making Zen where they are painting in a journal. I'm not sure whether it's stitching. Okay, so let me find, I was going to work on this page. This page had, that's Inktense. Again, it's quite vibrant. So there are three different supplies, one of which I'll share with you anyway, but I think they've been discontinued. I've not been able to find them, and it's the Derwent art bar. Okay, I'll show you anyway because you might have them. These are the Derwent art bars, and it's just like a water soluble wax crayon. But I've looked online and I've not been able to find them. I had them years ago, and I think that I was sent these as a sample, so maybe they created them and then they didn't go, you know, do anything with them. So we're just gonna see how they look. So what I want you to do is look through your supplies and see if you have anything called an art bar. They did go on to do, I think that the Inktense blocks were before the art bar, I'm not sure anyway. But if you don't have them, then, you know, it doesn't matter, because the Inktense blocks are similar in the sense that their vibrancy, they're not similar in the way they are, because the art bars are kind of, can be squishy, like my yellow is squishy, and these were the only colours that I had of them, so that's all I've got of the art bars. I'm not sure what else was brought out. Okay, so before I do the other Derwent one, I had my first introduction to the water-soluble wax crayons was a Karat Aquarelle, and I was very precious over these, and it was just like, I can only use these for best. It was just like I just had these ones, and so let me just go on this side and do some of the colours here. But again, they're nice in terms of their vibrancy. And yeah, I enjoy using them, and I haven't used them as much as I could have used them. So I've used that colour, so I'm just going to activate what I've just put down. And as you can see, in terms of their vibrancy, they are fairly vibrant. And again, you can choose to add them to the page in different ways. You know, get a rough surface that you can rub them on, and then you get a more watercolor type feel, and you don't get kind of like a collection of like where I've gone a bit too heavy. You know, you have to add a bit more water to activate it. But yeah, I really enjoy using all of them. I think they all have their I'm going to mix this. I like working with them. And if you do it on the palette, you have a better way of mixing them. Okay, so that's that. That's the Karat Aquarelle, and I could have, it's because I really want to use the Derwent. I could have used them a bit more on their page on themselves, but that's what I've got for you there. So it's just, again, play. I can come back in if I wanted to and work with the Karat Aquarelle, yeah. Aquarelle. Okay, so what I really do want to show you is the Derwent. Right, when so these are what I've got of the Derwent art bars. It did come in a container, but I've since streamlined my supplies, so they're in this little container. But this little container was something that Derwent had put out, and it's like a grater, and it's so that you I'm trying to open it the wrong way. Okay, so it's so that you can take the bars and you can grate some off in the same, I guess it's grate some off. I guess it's in the same way that I'm saying to you, you know, you could use a rough surface and you can rub these on. It's very similar to that. You rub it on the surface or on the grater, and then it collects at the bottom, and then you can use it but it quite easily works on here. I've got my watercolor thing here, so I want to see if I can see. You can do it on most surfaces, and you can get so you just need any surface really. It doesn't need to be rough with the Derwent Inktense bars, and I really do love them. And as I say, I've had these for years because I've you know, you got involved with other supplies, and but I do love using them. So let's activate some of these and let's see what blends we can get. That's black. So a lot of them split over time, but putting them out like this, you can blend them and then you can add them to the surface that you're working on. But look at the vibrancy. Look at that. Yeah? Going to mix the green and the red, and then we've got a brownie colour. So again, just a reminder, the pages have been gessoed and it is recycled fabric. So I can use that green and that red, and we'll see what variation of brown we get. It's a deeper, yeah. So you can experiment with colours and blending colours and see what you achieve. Again, if I wanted to cover up some of the lines that the gesso has made, I would use acrylic and not this colour or supply. Yeah, so when you apply it to a surface and then activate it, you get a smoother application. Yeah, but this, I think most people use it on, most people use these supplies on paper in their journal or their, you know, paper journal. Okay, if I wanted to make this a bit more vibrant, I can add more of the colours that I've blended. We blended the red and the green. So we can bring that up. Okay. So that's the Inktense blocks, and oh my gosh, they've got, I'm holding out from purchasing because I've got these. It's just like, just use them up. The other thing that you can do is you can take your brush and apply directly to the bar and paint, but I don't like doing that. So you can do it that way, yeah? Or you can directly put it on to the surface. Look at that, look at the colour. The art bars are so rich in colour. And then I can make that, if I'm thinking, oh, it's not as vibrant as I want, I can come in and do that. Or as you saw me do, rub it on there and activate it there. And I can, put it wherever I want it. Okay, so I'm going to have a bit more of a play around with this, and I'll come back and we can see what we've got going on. Okay. Let's go back to this one. So it should be fairly dry. I found my Posca pen, so I'm going to go around areas. The Posca pen doesn't really like this surface, so I'm having to go quite light. Okay, so I persevered and worked with the white Posca pen. Neither the Posca pen nor the, on this particular fabric, because it has ridges in it, neither the Posca pen nor the Jelly Roll really likes this very much. It's not, it needs to be a smooth surface. Anyway, so that is this piece on fabric. As you can see, I've gone round it using the Derwent Inktense bars and blending in the different ways, either blending on the fabric, on a surface like that, or directly taking your brush and adding it and then applying it to the surface. They all three work, and yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed that, and I look forward to connecting with you again. Remember to check out the Making Zen and look at some of the projects. It's over the for the rest of the week, and you'll be able to have access to each of the lessons for 24 hours, or you can take out the VIP. And I think while it's going now, it's at a discount. If you get it afterwards, the price goes up. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you enjoy experimenting, and look forward to checking out what you're doing.